Okay, I'm going to call to order the Tuesday, February 18th, 2020 meeting of the Iredell County Board of Commissioners. And before we go in, take a moment of silent prayer. I'd ask you specifically to remember Ryan Newman and his wife, Chrissy, for a speedy and full recovery from his injuries at Daytona 500. So if you'll please go to the Lord in prayer. You'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Ms. Jones, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No, sir, Chairman Mallory, we don't have any adjustments.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Norman. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. We have no special presentations from the Commission this evening, but we do have a special presentation to the Commission and to the general public. We're very excited to have Martin Blue, who is the leader of Team Voltage, which is a STEM initiative operated under the aegis of the Mooresville Youth Council. And they are engaged in a competition that will be leading them as one of 32 teams, I believe, to the state level competition. And then hopefully from there on to the world competition in Houston. And so I'm going to let Martin tee up what he and his team have been working on and share that for the benefit of all of the citizens of Iredell County.
Thank you, Chairman Mallory. So good evening. We're here tonight to give you a presentation on our team as well as an update on our progress. So I'll go ahead and get started. If I can get it to, there we go. All right, so as Chairman Mallory stated, we are operating under the town of Mooresville. So we are a brand new team. We're founded in the spring of 2019. So we currently have 15 members. This is our team demographic. So the majority of our members come from South Iredell High School. We do have a few from Lake Norman and Mooresville Intermediate School, as well as Mooresville High School. So the mass majority is from Mooresville Graded and Iredell Statesville schools, so right here in Iredell County. So the average age in our team is 16 years old. So this is just a brief outline of our goal. So this is our mission statement, verbatim from the packet you have in front of you. Our mission was to build a high-level robot while fostering an environment that promotes communication, collaboration, and leadership skills, and focuses not only improving individual expertise, but also the community at large. So we'll get into detail about what we've done to address each of those points.
So one of the first things that we did when we established a team was we wanted to create a place where we could all meet. So what Chris did was he got into contact with the NASCAR Technical Institute's campus president. And they allowed us to use like a classroom every Wednesday and Thursday. And here we keep our equipment, such as like our 3D printer, our workbench, our toolbox, and tools such as the drill and impact driver. And here we met, and it gave us a meeting space every Wednesday and Thursday. So this was a cadence that we set. So like every Wednesday and Thursday, you had to like set aside for robotics.
So one of our goals for this team was actually to impact the community of STEM-wise to promote it. One of the things we noticed was that we are one of the first teams that we know of like worldwide, or at least in this country, I don't know about worldwide, that are actually partnered with our town. So we're one of the first opportunities in our actual town to make a community-wide team. So our goal was to actually teach kids our age about STEM, ways that they wouldn't learn in a classroom, and that's why we made a half-custom, half-kit-made robot. It's not a picture. There's not a picture there yet, but our robot was actually half custom made. We designed it. We made a 3D model of it. We actually got it water jetted, 3D printed it, whatever we needed to do to make it the perfect robot.
So I'm just going to tag on for a second here. So Hamza, Martina, and I are all from South Idaho High School. So we originally started on their robotics club, and we were able to make it to states a couple years in a row. It's just that we felt like we had like a performance plateau due to the complexity of the actual objective. So we felt like contacting our municipality and getting us a meeting space outside of school would help us not only get more time, but also more help professionally to build the robot. So yeah, that's another cool fact.
And here's some of our 3D models of our robot. So the left picture is our drivetrain. That was fully custom made. We just got a sheet of aluminum, got that water jetted, and we welded it together with stitch welding. And to the right, that's kind of our, well, it's an old design. It's our grabbing system. So the challenge this year is to pick up these like giant Lego blocks or 8-inch by 3-inch by, or 4-inch by 5-inch. And that was supposed to like wrap around it, and that was 3D printed.
So Hamza, Martina, and I are all three co-presidents, so we each focus on a different sector of our team. I happen to focus on the business side of things, so if you just direct your attention to the board here. The first values are gracious professionalism through discovery, innovation, impact, inclusion, teamwork, and fun. So that was always the bottom line in anything that we did. So we do collaborate with those teams at South Idaho High School. There still are 2 teams there, which we help mentor them. There's also a couple, or I think there's 3 teams at Celeste Henkel Elementary School, so they're working with the Legos, so we have the little kids there. There is also other FTC teams that we reach out to, in person as well as online. So in regards to networking, we are a member of the Mooresville South Iredell Chamber of Commerce. We are currently trying to get a spot on the NC Chamber of Commerce, but it's pending. We're also reaching out to Pine Lake Prep Team Spork, so they are an FRC team, which is the league ahead of us, who's actually made it to World, so they're one of our partners. And I'll get into our sponsors at the bottom in just a second. So this is a list of all of our current sponsors. So as I stated previously, the town of Mooresville is our primary one. We're also sponsored by Iredell Statesville Schools, Crosby Scholars Iredell, Level.io, ClickUp, which is a project management software if you are familiar with that. Complete Network Charlotte, the NASCAR Technical Institute, the Mooresville South Iredell Chamber of Commerce, most recently Lowe's, who gave us a quite significant financial donation, which we are happy for, as well as CAS Technologies. So these are all of our sponsors.
Yeah, so aside from building and designing our robot, prototyping, all that, we also, a big part of our team is outreach and promoting STEM in our local community. So as you know, STEM has become an increasingly prevalent field in the modern day. So our team has made it our top priority to not only be a part of, but to inspire a generation of innovators. So Martina and Hamza, along with the other team members of Voltage, worked as mentors with the FLL teams at several elementary schools, and we also worked with SPOC, which was mentioned before, and other FTC teams in the local area, learning and also teaching about engineering and just giving those younger generations their first step towards success. We also worked with the town of Mooresville through the annual Food Truck Festival and Christmas in Mooresville. We planned and attended several of their events in which we hosted booths where we had our robots and little Lego robots for younger generations. We talked to the general public and really talked to them about the importance of STEM. It was really cool. We actually got to see how passionate the local community was about STEM and how determined they were to immerse themselves in STEM culture. And none of this is possible without you guys, obviously. So we're here to give you guys a big thanks for creating the foundation of Voltage Robotics and giving us a platform to promote STEM. And if we do, in fact, make it to Worlds, we are going to use that platform to further promote STEM in our community. So our Asheville robotics team, our Asheville competition was about 2 weeks ago. And yeah, Hamza can tell you a little bit more.
Our robot didn't do so hot, but due to our business and our outreach, we were able to make it to states. at this competition. So here are some pictures. So actually, you can actually see our robot on the, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was the prettiest robot there, I would say. But the reason it didn't function was because I'm one of the lead programmers, and I didn't program until the competition day because I was building the robot. It was so. It's not very typical to make a very make custom-made part, like a big aspect of your robot. Usually you make kit parts, and you just learn how to use the mechanisms. But I want to inspire my team to be more creative and learn how to actually design parts themselves. And it sounds like a very good idea, but since we're a new team, we're getting new people to learn, it was a longer process than I anticipated. So, but we still made it.
Yeah.
Jacob?
That is Jacob Goldstein. Yeah. He's one of our drivers.
All right, so this is just a Gantt chart of our season timeline and where we're looking at. So we're at where that black vertical line is. So we're right at the end of the qualifying season. States isn't on here, but States will be on February 29th. So that's when we're competing up in Raleigh at NCA, or the North Carolina Agricultural and Technical School, or university. Then the World Championships is in April. So yeah, that's where we're looking. So thank you once again for focusing on making Iredell County the place to be for not only STEM but also other endeavors. We really appreciate what you've done to support our municipality, Mooresville specifically, but also the other ones encompassed in Iredell County. We look forward to giving you an update on our progress after States. Hopefully we go to Worlds. But yeah, thank you again for your time.
Holy cow.
Comments?
Martin, you guys did a great job. Would you just recognize your members that came with you tonight?
Absolutely. So starting on the left, we have Martina Vu, who is a senior at South Iredell High School. Then we have Emma Noonan, who is your junior, right? A junior at Huff High School. And then we have Hamza Shak, who is also a junior at South Iredell High School. And then we have Jonathan Kang, who is also a junior at South Iredell High School. So we have a lot of representation from South.
Good job.
Yeah. Are there any other questions, by the way, about our team, how we function, anything?
I would.
Okay.
And I'm an engineering grad, but it's chemical engineering, and that involved a lot of electrons and electricity. So let's move on to a different subject.
Okay.
I am amazed. Number one, you all present yourself extraordinarily well.
Thank you.
Your presentation was very well organized and you presented it superbly.
Thank you.
And clearly you have a passion not just for science, but for outreach. If I could take some blood out of each of you and share it with others, and your passion of what you're trying to do, that's kind of the missing link. You know, we see you and you're a product of our school system, and then we see other examples of the product of our school system, and there's this huge gap between what you're doing and what you seek to do compared to other kids that just seem to be missing out. I don't mean missing out on IQ points, but on the passion and on the drive and stuff like that. What advice would you give the community, whether it's the school system or parents? What is it that ignited the passion that you have for STEM? And what might we learn from that so that we can pass it on?
Sure. So that's a
That's
leveled
a loaded
question. It is,
You
yeah.
can take the next 2 hours to explain. But, I mean, if you can, I mean, you know, where did your passion come from, and how do we help spread it?
So I think in one word to summarize it, it was exposure. So a lot of our parents are in the STEM field already, so we were pre-exposed to a lot of the engineering and stuff that went behind it. In regards to recommendations, I guess contacting, so I know Corvid is a big company. They would definitely be an igniter, and maybe if you can get them to come to our schools and talk to them, it's just really getting the kids hands-on and what they could do. Because I know in the classroom it's difficult to connect what's in the textbook with what's really happening in the real world. So with robotics, we get the ability to actually get hands-on and deep into it. So I think that really helped. So I'm not sure if anybody else has any other ideas.
I finally
Okay.
So, like, I'm like an exception to that exposure part. So my parents don't come from STEM. I actually, before this, I was like into art. I was performing guitar. I was a fashion designer's assistant for a long time. And my job was actually to make jewelry, like hand make jewelry and Photoshop pictures. So the only reason I actually joined robotics and I was becoming so interested in and so invested was because it was a challenge. So it was everything I do in robotics is something I haven't learned in school. So it was the idea of like self-satisfaction of like advancing my personal knowledge, but not for like grades or anything. It was just because I thought it was fun and because what I was producing was actually something that was making an impact and like something I was invested in. Because I wasn't originally invested, but the reason I was because I was actually producing something that was material and something I could see that I was getting better at. So that was my thing with it.
So everything we learn in school is pretty general. So I was actually having a conversation with my friend on the bus, and they're like, I'm never going to use Math 3 in my life. And I'm like, well, last week I just used sine and cosine to determine what the height of the scissor lift is. So just the application of what we learn in school, if you show that, okay, this knowledge is actually applicable, it will create like a drive for learning. So it was only after robotics that I loved math, because in 8th grade, I never loved math. I didn't like math. But when I used it in robotics for like the first time, and I was like, I love math because it's applicable now. So yeah, that's.
Actually, what you said is quite profound. Is a lot of times people we teach how to do the equations, and the last thing we teach is why do you do the equations? Maybe they ought to flip that. I always thought that they should. So, yeah, that's pretty neat. Anybody else? Our photographer? You got any comments? You got to go to the microphone.
So I've always been into robotics since middle school, and one thing that high school robotics stood out to me was that Martina, Hamza, and Chris introduced me was like, it's more than just building like a robot. It's like the community impact and the way you present yourself as like a team, a brand. It's just much more different than it was in middle school, and I found that very outstanding, and I became very interested in it. Cool.
You know, what's actually really interesting is that during our outreach events, we had so many people coming up to us asking to be on our team, asking to learn about what we do, asking to really apply it to their life. We have a straight up waiting list for our team. So there are so many people out there that want to be involved and they want to learn, but they just need that first push, and they need people like us. Like I got on this team through Hamza. I met him at a research program, and he actually just straight up asked me to be on the team, and I ended up loving it. And so a lot of it is about friendship and community and getting the leaders like us a platform to talk about these things and to push the younger generation.
And exposure to it.
Right, yeah.
And you're juniors in your role model.
Thank you.
Really. You're juniors in high school, and you are inspiring people, and you're a role model in ways that some of these kids, you may have actually lit that spark for the first time in their life. What you're doing is important. This is really impressive.
It is. Very impressive.
Thank you. And we have also presented at the Mooresville Graded School Board, so they are aware of our program, and we are looking to build a relationship with them, as well as the Iredell Statesville School Board. We just haven't presented to them yet. We tried to get on their agenda last week. It was just a little too tight. So hopefully next week we'll be on there, and we'll be able to talk to them about it and get some other teams started in the school system.
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I just want to salute the effort and the teamwork that you have gone into your successful endeavors. Whether you won a prize or not, you've won the prize, the big prize, which is, you've demonstrated to others. You take away people's excuses by saying, if you have a vision and you have passion, and if it's not just focused on something technical, but it's beyond that. It's reaching out, being inclusive as you are, as well as community focused, and you have a business plan, and you've engaged with, you've got a lot of entrepreneurial experience under your belt now. I think as Commissioner Robertson has been alluding to, you have an opportunity to lead and mentor these next generation of your compatriots in school. The school systems themselves are shifting. It's an inflection point, really, to be able to focus on how do we ignite a passion in young people in middle school, to be able to focus on a goal and be excited about that, and to get teachers to understand here is the real world applicability of the theory we're teaching to how you will use that in a career or a job. And the paradigm going forward is one of lifelong learning, because technological change is so fast. The spin cycle has increased so much that you can't just graduate from school, say here's my diploma, and lean back and rest on your laurels. You've got to constantly be rebluing yourself and pushing yourself. And so, just hearing what you've done in terms of just this robotic exercise, it's interesting that you got credit for its appearance and what you all did to make it happen. I mean, that's in life. There's really kind of this balance you want between function and feng shui. Yeah. You really do want to have that because that's a quality of life issue. So, just hearing y'all has put a lot of gas in my tank.
Yeah.
And is highly, encouraging to us, I think, as a board, as we look to the future for the citizens of this county, because we look to STEM and we look to entrepreneurship and we look to folks being able to get out of high school and be able to be employable in these 21st century advanced manufacturing jobs. And you've worked with NASCAR Tech. You've, I'm sure, seen the UTI down there, or Roush Yates, and all the stuff they have to offer, and the 3D printing, and it's just a whole new world out there. And so I would encourage you to, as you are completing this journey locally, that you engage as much as you can with your follow-on generations, particularly using the edge factor, and that's something that we're trying to put out to be able to penetrate into the academic classrooms back down to middle school, to be able to link people up and get them excited about their future, which we think is here. Designing stuff, making stuff, fixing stuff, because that's what it's about.
The edge factor?
So, hands-on, minds-on. That's what it's about.
I do have a question.
Yes,
Most
sir.
of the time when people show us a budget, they're usually, there's an ask in there somewhere. And I see where some other folks have maybe met some of your budget. How much are y'all short right now?
$1,500 approximately.
$1,500.
Yes, sir.
Can we put out their email address?
I mean, we're okay with that. Absolutely, yes.
Okay. For anybody who is watching, for our audience who is watching this Board of Commissioners meeting, this group of exceptional Iredell County, with one exception, students are literally, they epitomize everything that we want public education to be. They need $1,500. And I can't think of a better investment or a better bet that you could make upon parlaying your money into success. Their email address is voltedgerobotics@gmail.com. That's voltedgerobotics, no dots, @gmail.com. I hope you'll email them. If nothing else, email them and tell them what a great job they're doing. And please, I'll ask our clerk to the board, when they come back from their competitions, I very much would love to have them come back. You are some of the most interesting people we've had appear before this board. You really are. I've learned something new, and I certainly feel inspired. So congratulations. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you again.
If I may take a quick liberty, Martin, I'm going to brag on you for a minute.
All right.
Martin actually shadowed me. When was that?
I think it was November.
I think it was back in
Yeah.
November.
You did appear smarter.
I know, right?
Yes.
You surround yourself with people smarter than you, and I did that day. Martin contacted me and said, "Do you ever offer opportunities to shadow you?" And I said, "Absolutely, come on." And he spent the day with me, and I tell you what, he renewed my faith in our youth because he is a very impressive young man, and I learned probably more from him than I think he learned from me. But he and I can tell from his team, you guys have amazing heights that you will reach. So I commend you all.
Thank you again.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Did we get a picture made with all of them? Yeah. Y'all come on up. Behind here. In front of us. And you need to get y'all.
Come on, this is where you get your pic. You don't have to take the picture. You get it taken. All right.
Have we got everybody in?
Yes. VoltEdgeRobotics@gmail.com.
At the airport.
Appreciate your representative. It's great to see you.
Y'all take care. So good to meet y'all. All right. Very inspiring. I'm glad you invited her. That was good. All right.
Oh. Hey, nice seeing you again. Absolutely, I will.
Okay, moving on. We have no public hearings this evening, and we do have several matters on our administrative calendar that we reviewed during our pre-agenda meeting at 5 o'clock, which I will remind everyone is open to the public, and mostly is consisting of rather technical issues that are presented by staff. So I would ask our county manager, Ms. Jones, if you would please summarize those items that are appropriate for our consent agenda.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairman Mallory. The first item was a request from the town of Troutman for approval of an easement to install a new sewer line across the Iredell County Fairgrounds property. It's a request from the library for approval to apply for discounted internet service under the Federal Communications E-rate program for fiscal year 2021, and this will equate to a savings around $13,292. A request from the library for approval to apply for a Library Services and Technology Act grant from the State Library of North Carolina, and this is $11,241 with a 10% in-kind training match, which equates to no cost to the county. A request from the library for approval to apply for a continuing education scholarship grant in the amount of $2,100 from the State Library of North Carolina. A request from the library for approval of an updated logo to be implemented in fiscal year 2021. A request from the Finance Department for approval of audit contract for Martin Starnes and Associates CPA for fiscal year ending June 30, 2020. This is in the amount of $65,350, and this is something that we do annually with an outside audit firm that audits our books and all county finances on an annual basis. A request from Finance Department to accept the high bid for 174 Bentbrook Road, acquired through tax foreclosure, and authorization to finalize the sale. The highest bid was $8,050. And then finally, a request from Tax Administration for approval of the January refunds and releases.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Is there any further discussion of those items? Is there a motion to approve our consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Norman. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. We have no announcements or appointments to any boards or commissions this evening. I don't believe there's any unfinished business to come before the commission. This is a public comment period. Is anyone signed up? And I don't see anyone unless anyone would like to avail themselves of this opportunity. And seeing and hearing none, well, I'll open the public comment period and close the public comment period. Is there any new business to come before us? County manager's report?
Just 2 quick items to report. Our winter retreat is coming up this Friday. We have had a change in our schedule, and instead of being a 2-day retreat starting Friday and ending Saturday at noon, we have amended that, and we are going to compile it to 1 day because we've had some agenda adjustments. So the retreat will be Friday, February the 21st, starting at 8 a.m. and lasting until 6 p.m. at the Statesville Public Library. Agenda booklets are finalized, and they'll be ready to pick up tonight after the conclusion of this meeting.
Do we need to recess after this meeting as opposed to adjourn?
Yes, I think that's typically what we do is recess and then open on Friday morning.
Okay.
And then just to let everyone know that in previous years, the statewide presidential primary has been held in May, and this year it is actually on March the 3rd. I spoke to Ms. Gallagher, our elections director, and she said that the turnout is very low, and she's concerned that some people may not realize that the primary is actually in March of this year. So we have sent out a hyperreach call just to make sure that we are notifying everybody and letting them know of that change. And basically, it will just let everyone know that early voting is currently being held for the 2020 March statewide presidential primary election. Voters have the opportunity to vote on the following: primaries in the presidential, federal, state, local contest, and 2 county school construction bonds. And early voting site information is available on the Iredell County Board of Elections website or by calling the Board of Elections office at 704-878-3140. And just pleased to remind everybody to get out and vote.
Yes, we want to reemphasize that, the lifeblood of democracy is the participation of its citizens by exercising the right to vote. And we encourage everyone to get out there. There are important issues, 2 bond issues before the county citizens. Those are incredibly important, as well as candidates for both parties for state, local, and national office. So please get out and exercise your right. We had 1 closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 subsection A4 to discuss items relating to economic development. There was one item was discussed in particular, nothing to report out as of yet, but we did have the fruition of one item that requires a public hearing, and I would ask if there's a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to call for a public hearing on March 3rd, 2020 at 7 p.m. regarding a maximum economic development incentive of $94,000 over a 5-year period for Project Ballast based on a $5.7 million investment in Iredell County.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Haupt. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. At this time, all hearts free.
I just have one short thing before I make our motion to recess.
All right.
I just want to ask everybody to keep Commissioner Norman and his family in our prayers. His sister passed away, and just want to remind everybody to keep them in their prayers, and we have them in our thoughts. And with that said, I'd like to make a motion to recess until this Saturday, Friday, the 21st at 8 a.m.
Yes.
At the library.
Okay. Motion to recess. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Motion carries unanimously. We are recessed until Friday morning at 8 a.m. at the Iredell County Public Library.
Just like middle school.